Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our regularly scheduled commission meeting, September 25th, 2024. The time is now 7:03. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass?
Here.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Here.
Commissioner Kelly?
Present.
Commissioner Williams?
Here.
Mayor Taylor?
Here. As we stand by for the invocation led by Commissioner Bass, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Our Father who art in heaven, holy is your name, Father. We come before you, O God, with a heart full of gratitude and thanks to you, Lord God. We just give you honor. We give you praise. We ask you, Father God, that we will unite as a people, that we will be whom you have called us to be, good leaders, good stewards. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Madam Clerk, I see we have no awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements. As we get ready to go to the approval of the consent agenda, do we have any pulls, deletions, or deferrals for the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Manager?
Yes, planning and zoning item 15A1. The administration would like to defer to a date uncertain.
Uncertain?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Do we need to
if you
withdraw it?
defer, if you defer, it should be to a date certain because of the notice issue. So whether it's a month from now or what, well,
Mr. Mayor, so we'd like to withdraw that item.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
That's the public hearing, planning and zoning A1, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, any pulls, deletions for us under the consent? All right, hearing
Mr.
none.
Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I want to pull number 1 and 3. Thank you.
All right. 1 and 3. Anyone else? All right. All right, Madam Clerk? So can I get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Bass, second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, we're going to the approval of the agenda, but I see that
Mr.
you
Mayor?
had, Commissioner Kelly?
To add on?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. I see that you have 2 add-ons for the agenda. Mr. Manager, could you go ahead? Well, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, read it to the record and Mr. Manager can state the emergency.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, we do have 2 add-on items. These items will be included. The first one as 14-1, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving issuance of a request for proposals for a qualified general contractor for Lift Station 4 relocation and rehabilitation services, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, Mr. Manager, can you state the emergency nature?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is an item that we are funding with our ARPA funds. Those ARPA funds must be encumbered by the end of this year. Since this has to go out for a bid, we are pulling this item from the agenda for next commission meeting and bringing this item to this agenda meeting so that we have a little extra time to put this out for a bid.
All right, can I get a motion to add this to tonight's agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk, roll call on item number 1.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, and the second item?
The
14.
second item would be included as 14-2. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving issuance of an invitation to bid for a qualified professional firm to complete the Cairo Lane and Northwest 127th Street drainage, utilities, and roadway improvement project, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, Mr. Manager, can you state the emergency nature?
Thank you. Again, this is going to be funded with our ARPA funds. Those funds must be encumbered by the end of the year. like the previous item, it also has to go out for a bid. So we're pulling it forward just to get a little extra time.
Okay, can I get a motion to
Move
enter?
it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bath?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Commissioner Baz. Madam Clerk,
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
all right, we're going to the approval of minutes. It's the first budget hearing minutes, September 10th, 2024. Can I get a
Move it.
motion? Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk,
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, no District 1, District 2, or state reports at this time.
No,
So-
Mr. Mayor.
And I think you told me that we have a public presentation from Vision Zero.
Yes, the public presentation is relating to Safe Streets and Roads for All Comprehensive Safety Action Plan.
Okay. You have the floor. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
If you can have the presentation, please.
Mr. Mayor, while he's putting it up, we have copies of this in the back, or it's just for us tonight?
I believe the.
We do have copies.
Commissioner Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner-
I only made copy for the members of the city commission. I don't have any extra copies.
We have. the-
Oh, you
Yes.
placed some back there? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Good, okay. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to present to the commission an update of what we have completed so far and, open the forum for some questions. Next. Next slide. So this is pretty much the agenda, what we have today. Next. We talk about the timeline of the project. We started in April. And we are right now in October, November, where we're going to have pretty much finishing up putting the development of the action plan for safety improvements. And we're going to bring that to the commission either at the end of October or the beginning of November for approval. Next. And here's a summary of different events that we have had throughout the duration of the project. Next. Where we collected information from different people and different residents. Next. We even had a community workshop and a bike ride with the Dutch Cycling Embassy. Next. We presented the project for NACTO, which is a conference that was held here in Miami in May. Next. We have had different helmet giveaways and bicycle tune-ups at the Tri-Rail station. Next. Next. And then we also met with Miami-Dade Transit and we rode the bus along 27th Avenue, and we evaluated the conditions of the bus stops. Next. And we have collected different surveys at the monthly food distribution, and we also went to all the different businesses on 27th Avenue and Alibaba Avenue. Next. And these are all the other meetings that we have had. As you can see, we have met with different stakeholders throughout Miami-Dade County. Next. So we have performed a crash analysis approximately in Opa-locka between 2018 and 2023. There have been about 6,300 crashes all over the city. The majority of them happening at day and at night, and the day, and then about 29% at night. Next. And as you can see, the crashes have been going up. As well as the number of people that have been severely injured, but fatalities have gone down. Next. And then when you look at the distribution between who is involved in the crashes and who's actually being affected, there's a discrepancy. As you can see, the majority of the crashes are with between cars, but people that have been severely injured or have died the majority are pedestrians, cyclists, motorcyclists, and bicyclists. So there's a difference between the distribution. Next. And then when you look at where the crashes are happening, about 67% of them are happening on FDOT roadways. 18% of them on county roadways and 50% on local roadways. Next. And if you look at if the facility, the road is divided or undivided, the majority of them are happening on divided highways, and the majority are happening on roads that have multiple lanes. Next. And when you look at the distribution of these crashes and fatalities and severe injuries of the type of facility that we have, you can see that on the left, you see the distribution of the facilities within the city. And on the right, you see where the crashes are happening. As you can see, the majority of the crashes are happening on arterials and major collectors and minor arterials. Next. And factors causing crashes in Opa-locka, we have a lot of distracted driving. We have aggressive driving and speeding, which is higher than the percentage in Miami-Dade County overall. We have hit and runs, intersection-related crashes, and we also have lane departure-related crashes. Next. And here you can see we also looked at the correlation between crashes and mass transit, and about 49% of them are happening within a quarter mile of the bus stop. 39% of them are happening within 500 feet from a bus stop, and 25% of all the crashes are transit related. Next. We also look at the routes that people are using for cycling and walking. As you can see, those popular routes where people are cycling and walking are where the crashes are happening. Next. We also look at if there are some gaps in the facilities, and you can see that especially the bicycle crashes, they're happening on where you have gaps or where you begin to have infrastructure. Next. And then you can see also here where you look at the level of stress of the facilities that you have here, and the crashes are happening where the facilities are considered stressful. Next, such as State Road 9, the bike lane on State Road 9. It's kind of difficult to bike there. Also, we looked at crashes in relation to traffic volume and speed, and you can see that there's no secret to anybody that the crashes are happening on roads that have a lot of traffic volume and are happening where the speed is higher. That is not unique to Opa-locka. That happens all over Miami-Dade County. Next. Because of the importance of freight in Opa-locka, Opa-locka is considered a hub, freight hub for Miami-Dade County. We also looked at the correlation between crashes and freight. Next. And you can see that the corridors that belong to the county and FDOT are the ones that have the majority of the freight traffic. You see some spots where you have issues with freight, and those are the ones that we evaluated for further improvements to see if we can solve the situation with road safety. Next. You can also see the correlation between commercial vehicles and crashes. We have had 7 so far in the city within the time period, and a lot of them are happening at intersections with trying to maneuver, trying to turn around on an intersection, and that's what the crashes are causing. Next. We also look at the intersections and seeing if there's a correlation between crashes and the signalized intersections, and you can see that 71% of the crashes in Opa-locka are happening at signalized intersections. So there's an opportunity for improvements, signalizing opportunities there. Ooh, go back. Back. Go back. 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 You went too far. Go back. Okay. So you can see in all the signalized intersections in the map, and you can see the correlation between the number of fatalities or crashes are happening specifically on those signalized intersections. Next. And you can see here, what we try to do is we try to create a high injury network throughout the city. And we didn't focus just on FDOT roads. We focus on all types of roads. So we picked the top 5 roads for FDOT that belong to FDOT, the top 5 roads that belong to the county, and the top 5 roads that belong to Opa-locka, 3 roads that belong to Opa-locka. And with those, we created what we call the citywide HIN, or high injury network. Next. And then before I show you the high injury network, based on a lot of information from the public and from stakeholders, we looked at special cases throughout Opa-locka. And one of those cases is Jan Avenue. And then we can see that in Jan Avenue, the crashes are happening because there's dark conditions and you have people failing to stop, or you have distracted driving. Next. In Ahmad Street, you have crashes happening. See, the difference here is 40% of those crashes are happening because people are not stopping a stop sign. And then the majority, 25% of those crashes are happening that are happening are rear end collisions. Next. The intersection, this is something from Commissioner Kelly mentioned this location to us, which is Rutland and 22nd Avenue. You can see there that 16% of them are side swipes, 26% are collisions making a left turn, and then 28% are rear end collisions. Next. And then Cairo Lane is also interesting because Cairo Lane is in the industrial area of the city. And because of the importance of freight industry in the city, we looked at that as well. And you can see that 59% of the crashes are related to commercial vehicles. So all the freight crashes are happening there. And then 30% of the crashes are negligent driving, and 35% are improper backing. So next. And then before we put together the HIN, we also need to look at the equity component. We need to look at if the neighborhoods there with disaster risk, they have environmental burden, you have health vulnerability, you have social vulnerability, and you have transportation insecurity. So we combined all that, and then we found the locations within the city that are considered in high equity index, which is the one in red that you see there. Next. And then we also looked at the cost of society, because these accidents happen and they have a cost associated with it. And then because we're not addressing that issue, though all the accidents have happened in the period that we evaluated, are costing society $343 million. So, and then 56% of those happen the cost is associated to accidents that are happening on FDT roadways. 32% of those are happening on Miami-Dade roadway, county roadways, and only 12% on Opa-locka. And the methodology that we use to calculate that is coming from FDOTs. You can see in the top of it. Next. So without all these factors, we looked into, in addition, if they're close to, in proximity to schools, parks, if they're close to an intersection. So we factor all that in, all the crashes that I just mentioned before, and then we came up with this high injury network. All these locations, if you see the segments that are colored in yellow, those are high injury segments, meaning there's a lot of accumulation of crashes happening on those pieces of segments of the road. And if you see the dots, those are considered clusters, and those are what we call high injury clusters, which are there's a group of accidents happening there. Next. But what we heard from folks, because we wanted to correlate the crashes, the data, with what people told us, and we collected about 95 surveys through the time that we've been together and doing this effort. And we created a map, a pinpoint map, for people can put their concerns, and we got 58 comments. And you can see the difference. You know, people are saying that 71% of the crashes are happening because of speeding. 44% of the people are saying that, well, if you have more trees, I would like to walk more. 77% of 45% of the people in Opa-locka would like to see traffic calming. 45% of the people in Opa-locka would like to see more crossings, pedestrian crossings. So, and 29% would like to see more intersection improvements. And you can see that the correlation of what I show you in the map of what the high injury network and what people are telling us, the top three most dangerous corridors in Opa-locka are, according to the people that we interview, are 27th Avenue. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. I think one of the persons that we interview told us that 27th Avenue is the Grand Canyon of Opa-locka, because it divides the city into two, and it's hard for people to go from one side to another side. The second one is Alibaba Avenue, and the third one is on 135th. So you can see over there, all the words that were given to us during the interviews, reckless driving is one of the major things that were told to us. Next. We also created a dashboard where you can, if you scan that QR code, you can go and look at the dashboard and all the data that we have collected. We also did something pretty interesting, which is called safe access to community destinations. So you can look at specifically if it's a park, it's an important location within the city, and you can look at how that location is looking with regards to crashes. Next.
Mr. Fuentes, before you do next steps, because a lot of people, we have 17,000 residents in
Yes.
here. You only got 95
Mhm.
surveys. So a lot are not familiar with what Vision Zero is and
yes.
what the purpose. So if you can quickly
Yes.
just sum it up with what it is and then what's the purpose so that everybody has
So-
an understanding of the why.
Thank you, Mayor.
And then the next step.
Yeah,
And
thank
that
you,
way we
Mr.
can-
Mayor. So Vision Zero is an initiative that looks for what we call the safe system approach, understanding that human makes mistakes and accidents. We're not robots, and the road should not be designed for robots. The roads should be designed to understand that accidents will happen, and then we need to make sure that we can minimize fatalities as much as possible. Crashes will happen, but you need to minimize fatalities and severe injuries, and that's the whole purpose. This is an initiative that came to Opa-locka because Opa-locka is a recipient of a grant from the Safe Street and Roads for All. That is part of the bipartisan infrastructure bill that was approved by President Biden.
Okay.
And the next steps, we invite everyone to participate in the Rail Safety Parking Day on October 3rd. That's going to happen next week at the Tri-Rail Station. We picked the Tri-Rail Station because it's the hotspot, it's the transit hub for the entire city. So everybody come is what we got a lot of more of the people that we interview. We're going to complete the safety improvements and recommendations in October. We're going to present to BPAC. BPAC is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee for Miami-Dade County. We're going to present as well to FTAC, which is the Freight Technical Advisory Committee. We're going to have another task force meeting with all the stakeholders, including the police department and different offices from Miami-Dade County, FDOT. We would like to present our recommendations to the committee again at the end of October or early November, because we want to show you visioning before and after, and we want to show you the policies that you need to change to improve safety in the city. And then we would like to process the application so Opa-locka can become a Vision Zero network member. And that's it. If you have questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fuentes, for leading this initiative in the city of Opa-locka to help us to become a Vision Zero city to decrease, these violations, traffic violations. And I know Commissioner Williams is happy when you brought up Jan Avenue because she's been talking about that for a while.
Yeah, and we did
Yeah.
that because of.
So I want to open up the floor to anyone that has questions for Mr. Jesus. Anyone has questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Bass?
this is a lot.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for this. And I'm going to digest this because this is a lot of information that
Mhm.
I didn't know. And I'm quite sure some of my colleagues as well was not aware of the importance of all of this.
Mhm.
So I appreciate the hard work that was put into it. So just a quick question. You mentioned 10/3/24 at the train station. What time will it be?
Yeah, so it will be from 4 to 6 p.m. And we're gonna be there. We wanted to give helmets again, but the grant that we get for free helmets ran out of them. They gave away 37,000 helmets last year. So there are not more. So we're gonna do it from 4 to 6 next.
Can you recall how many you gave out in Opa-locka?
In Opa-locka, we have given approximately close to 100. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so because we have had those sessions where we bring a pop-up bicycle repair station, so folks get off the train and repair their bikes, and then we give helmets to those who would like to have a helmet. So we do a little bit of education at the same time. So approximately 100 we have given so far.
And to piggyback on what Commissioner Bash just asked you, do you have a relationship with the Bike 305 initiative through the county?
No, but we partnered with them when we did the community workshop. So they were here with us when we did the very first event that we did in May.
Okay, because I know I believe they still have the helmet grant.
Yes. Yeah, Sue
Sue.
Zuraleski, yeah,
Yeah.
Koraleski. We partner with her often, and when we did the community workshop, I think it was May 2nd. She gave away helmets as well, so more than 100 because she also gave helmets that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Fuentes?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you again for the presentation and the information. My colleague said there's a lot to digest. Look forward to looking at all of it, and hopefully you get some more responses because the mayor said 95 with so many folks is still a small sample. You mentioned, as the mayor and my colleague mentioned, about Jan and Ahmad, and I know I've asked the county for a study to look at that. Are you tied into that study? Is that separate from what the county's doing, I guess?
No, sir.
To the manager, I guess, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Manager.
I apologize, sir. Yes?
No. Well, he mentioned Jan and Martin and some of the things they've done. And I know we've asked for a feasibility study from the county, and you sent us something saying it had been submitted. I was wondering, are they tied into that same network, or is the county's on separate?
The county's separate, sir.
The county's separate?
Yes.
Okay. But the information that you've gotten has been based on your own analysis and data?
We have looked at the database that is statewide. It's called Signal 4 Analytics, and that's where we get the county will get the same information from the same source, and then we have analyzed it based on the tickets or the police reports that are created when an accident happens, and that's how we've came up with the percentages and all the different statistics.
Okay, I appreciate that because I'm looking forward to seeing that analysis. And you also mentioned about one of the things you found in your survey was street calming devices and the like.
Yes, because of your input when we met, we did a traffic calming inventory throughout the whole city, and that's part of we're finishing that up right now. So we look into the correlation between crashes and the areas that you have traffic calming, and we have found that they're effective by reducing the speed of folks traversing the area. What we have found in inventory is that the traffic calming devices here in Opa-locka need some TLC. I mean, they need to have some signage, they need to be repainted and stuff like that to be more effective, because some of them don't even have any signs and they're not visible. So folks can go through them and not even acknowledge that they are there.
And that analysis will be part of your final
Yes. Yeah.
report or
it will be
presentation
part
in
of- yes.
November?
Yes, sir. It will be part of our final report.
Okay. Again, thank you. Look forward to getting the final work.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, no problem. Any other questions to Mr. Fuentes? All right, hearing none. Thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation. Look forward to seeing the final result. All right, as we get ready to go into our citizens forum, Madam Clerk, can you please state how to participate in citizens forum?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. City of Opa-locka Commission meetings are held in person at the Opa-locka Government Center, City Commission Chambers, 780 Fisherman Street, 3rd floor, Opa-locka, Florida. Members of the public wishing to address the commission may do so in person or virtually. Those persons wishing to participate virtually should register prior to the scheduled meeting time on the city's website at www.opalockafl.gov. When speaking before the commission, please make sure to give your full name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute time limit for public comments. Please adhere to the decorum policy, which is part of the commission meeting agenda. City Commission meetings are aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka. And Mr. Mayor, at this time, we do have a request for a virtual public comment. Mr. George Suarez, if IT can confirm whether or not he's online.
Okay, so we'll start with our virtual audience first, and then we'll go to the ones in the chamber. Mr. Suarez, you have the floor. Can we unmute Mr. Suarez and put up the timer as well, please?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 1341 Dunot Avenue. My name is George Suarez. I've been living at Opa-locka since 2015, and I watched the city go from good to bad and good again. Right now, I'm here to address about the executive office. We need to change the format of the executive office where the police department do not answer to the executive office. It answers to the commission. Because right now, I understand that we are providing security as we just became the Tonton Makut, and we're causing people to fear for their lives and coming out of their homes. And at the second thing I'd like to address is that I will not use the person's name, but I'll go forward by saying this. How can we allow somebody to run for office that set the blueprint for the reason why we're on financial oversight, where this gentleman was doing deals in the restroom that caused us to lose a lot of favoritism in our state. We are the highest tax with nothing to show for it. So moving forward, we need to understand that this community is made of everyone, not certain few where we have certain candidates that saying that they're for the people, but they do not want to see everybody flourish in our city. So moving forward, we need to take a hard look in the mirror and stop playing with people's lives. And that's all I have to say. You guys have a blessed day. Continue to do the great job that you're trying to do. And please make Opa-locka for everybody, not just for the certain few.
Thank you, Mr. Suarez. Citizens Forum is open for those in the chamber. Citizens Forum is open.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Coham, 2140 York Street, and I give my time to Mr. Dennis.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Brian Dennis, address 2140 York Street. I find it disheartening that there's a rumor going around that I bought a scoop in here as a drug dealer. And I was afraid to come to the meeting. I don't know where that came from, but I want you all to check your emails in the morning. For the first time, I really understand what it feels like to be stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's one thing to watch the chief on TV put himself in a vulnerable position and having this integrity question, but it's another thing to sit there and watch him really don't want to go up. In my opinion, the chief is just as job scared as any of the other employees in here. When we allow the manager to run this city as if he's Fidel Castro, and this is a communist city, we have an extreme problem. The manager is in the chief is in the exact same position that former Chief Israel was in. The exact same position. Put Chief Israel up to blast steel, but now you put the chief up and we still ain't got the results of the investigation of Coach Kari and those other employees and the time clock. But this is what we do. Then we looking at Chief Starks, Assistant Chief Starks. Now that's out of control. You got to take your hat off to her though. She fighting them back. I have not laid eyes on that whistleblowers report, but I guarantee you without seeing it, I can tell you each person that's involved in that whistleblowers report. Each person. To allow this to continuously go on as Mr. Suarez says, pushing our city down. Remember when Opa-locka was a great city? When employees are afraid to address issues because they have a tyrant and a manager that's running this city as if it's a communist country. That's crazy. It shouldn't be allowed. It's the responsibility of those that run this city and help govern this city to make sure that each and every employee is taken care of. Everyone. This is out of control, ladies and gentlemen. To see the chief, the assistant chief, file a Whistleblowers Protection Act, then to be demoted because she won't target employees. And y'all notice that when it comes to the chief, I got much respect for him. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for him. Trained at Paris Island. And if you ain't never been to Paris Island, that's the only boot camp in the world that you could go to in the branch of service in the United States, and you don't have to go to nobody else's boot camp. Train Marine just like I am. But when you put people in positions and you force them and they are job scared and you have them to question their integrity, something wrong. Young man, on house arrest. No gun residue. Look at all this stuff that's going on in the city just within the last few months. And we sitting up here like it's all good. Like nothing ain't been done about it. Like it's all good. Got an innocent man home on house arrest for something he did not do. Investigation was not handled properly. The vehicle was not handled properly. But we sit up here like it's all good. It ain't cool when we know the vote is there to get rid of the manager and we don't show up. Or we decide to stand up for somebody that job scared. That ain't being a leader. That ain't being righteous. That's being self-serving, meaning you're taking care of your own interests. Feel sorry for the chief. But for most so, I feel sorry for Chief Starks because it finally took an employee to stand up to the bully. Even bullies get beat.
Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening. Dr. Retibia Walden, 1860 Service Road. I would like to say that people are still using my name maliciously. My number have been given out that I've given my number to only certain people. People are calling my number, calling me a racist. The Lord sees everything. And not only that, everybody that comes up here, do not give their whole name and their address. They will be coming after me because they said every time I come up here, they will get up. But they have not one time said their whole name. If we're going to do it for one, we need to do it for all. There will be lawsuits for defamation of my character as a candidate for commissioner.
Dr. Walden, we can't use this as an opportunity to promote.
It's not an opportunity. I'm saying to you all, when the people that get up here and harass me don't have to say their full name and it's not on public record, that's a problem. When I have people calling me the next day after meetings, calling me a racist, and I know who I have given my number to on this commission. God bless you all. Get ready.
Good evening, mayors and commissioner. I'm not gonna need that 3 minutes. I'm gonna be very short. I'm Mr. Luis Santiago, 1156 Perry Opera Street, Opa-locka, Florida, 33054. And I'm very proud to live in this beautiful city. And I'm very proud to be a standout here tonight to say this. I think it's fair, Mr. Mayor, to put a little bit more order, because it's not nice that in a commissioner meeting to this chamber to accepting people to call or to standing here to insulting people like that. I believe that we have an state election department up there in Tallahassee, another one here in Dade County, letting go there and complaining, because this is a commissioner meeting for something else, not to come here and insulting other people. I think that's very, very well. And I believe, Mr. Mayor, that we have to have a little more order in this meeting and to be more strong, because that's not acceptable. That can bring a lot of problem, okay, to the finance, city finance, and when Sue and other teams, because that's the way that I feel. Thank you, mayors and commissioner. But I think that I'm a human and I have the right to say what I feel.
Hi, I'm Tina, 2040 York Street. My name is Tina. I'm here today because of a citizen. I've been a citizen of Opa-locka over 50 years.
Ms. Tina, state your full name and name for the record, please.
Oh, my name is Katrina Parks. I've been at 2040 York Street. I've been at Opa-locka for 52 years. My whole life, every week, I can't read this. I'm gonna read what I want to say. I come here today. It don't have nothing to do with the Opa-locka and all this stuff. It's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, and I'm mad and I'm hurt. I'm a hurt mother and I'm gonna keep standing up and I'm gonna say her name. I don't care. Her name Retivia Walden. I don't know who's bruising it up. You got the chief of Opa-locka police. Don't come near me. I have my amendment rights. I learned that now. You don't have, listen.
names.
Okay, but you don't
Okay.
have, you don't come up when nobody
Ms.
else
Tina,
come up.
Ms. Tina,
Yes, sir. Okay.
one
And,
second.
okay,
Dismiss your officer, please. Dismiss your officer.
Sergeant Arms, you may reside at your post.
thank you.
And
No, I apologize.
no, we're good.
Okay,
Let's restart. Let's do it. Come on.
okay. I've been living in Opa-locka a long time. I lost my son to gun violence. 9 years, I'm a hurt mother. You come up here with foolishness and come up and you want to talk about God. I do have to say this part. We claim people are for the people when they are against the people. If you for the people, you're gonna help the people and do what's right. You're gonna turn people in who do something to your family. You understand me? We have another family that's suffering in Opa-locka. I guess a lot of people scared to stand up and say it. I've been begging them to come. I ain't the only one. Some Spanish people got beat because they got lied on. Beat and beat and beat. Let me tell you something. Everybody not scared of the police. We used to trust in the police. The police supposed to be here to protect you and help you and do everything for you. You got real killers out here that they not looking for, but it's only here a word. If I mess with you or show you a shot, you'll go over there and give me some justice. Lift up my dress or bend over or something, you'll go over there and protect me. You understand me? That's not fair. That's not fair. I want justice for my son. And whenever you're wrong, see, God sits high and he looks low. I don't care what you do. You can record, do anything you want. But when God sits high, Ain't nothing man could do. I ain't never been scared of nobody. And everybody in Opa-locka know me. Nobody. You understand me? Nobody. And when you wrong, you wrong. I kept my mouth closed for 9 years. I was suffering. And I'm still suffering with pain. Nobody knows how I feel to have one child and somebody come and take them from you until it happened to you. And every time Thank you.
Citizens. Come on, citizens forum it. We're not doing that in the chamber, please. Citizens forum is still open. Citizens forum is still open. Citizens forum is closed. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a lot. A lot was about investigations, and we're not gonna go into that. So we're just gonna go into the agenda. Madam Attorney, 13-1.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to accept grant funding and enter into a subaward agreement between the Hispanic Access Foundation and the City of Opa-locka for urban forestry revitalization within the downtown area of the city, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, Mr. Manager, go ahead and present the item. I'm sorry, can I get a motion? And a
Move for
second?
discussion.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly for the discussion. Second, who was the second? Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item comes from us, from our Director of Financial Support Services, Mr. Anathan, who also oversees our grants. And we have him available to answer any questions that the commission may have about this item.
All right, this item was moved for discussion. Commissioner Kelly, you can go ahead and then we'll bring.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I raised some concerns in my briefing that I was hoping to have the answer for. This is a reimbursable grant for $500,000 to add 499 trees. And that was stated in the presentation previously. We do know we need more trees, we need more canopy. But my concern is how we're going to maintain them, because we have challenges maintaining the trees we have now. And also because this is reimbursable, there are other costs that are factored in, including an arborist, a maintenance contractor, general contractor, but more importantly, how it's going to be maintained. And one of the areas that were going to be included is State Road 9. And I know State Road 9 previously has had an exclusive type of contract where they don't want us to even do anything on their property. So I asked those questions in my briefing to hopefully get the answers. Again, because it is reimbursable, we got to put the money up front in order to get it. So I don't know, Mr. Anthem, because he took the question in the meeting, maybe he can answer them tonight, because that's a concern that I have. If we're going to get more trees, add more trees, but we're going to maintain those trees, and then the cost of reimbursable and how we came about to the company that we selected, because some of the things that they're doing, including the mulching twice a year, which is good, but we know mulching and maintenance is going to take more than that. So I want to make sure that that is understood and built in, since this is reimbursable. So those were my questions, and I guess Ms. Elkin has the answer tonight, I hope. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Ms. Anderson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Commissioner Kelly, I did prepare answers that, but I had a day, all the responses I did are still on my desk. I apologize for that. I can answer some of the questions directly. I'm also going to ask the CIP manager to step up, since she put together the application, which included the maintenance plan. To answer a couple of your points, the trees, the section of trees that you saw on the map are not on State Road 7. They're on the service road, so there's no conflict with the state on that. The package would lead you to believe that vendors have been selected at this time. No vendors have been selected. One vendor was contacted to get some quotes because the grantor requested we get quotes to make sure that there was some validity to what we were applying for. To answer some of your other questions, If I could ask the CIP manager to step up.
Okay, before you do that, Mr. Mayor. So what's in our package, State Road 9 is incorrect?
It's service road for State 9. Is it? State Road 9, yes, sir.
So it's not State Road 9?
Correct. Service
Okay, well,
road.
I was only going by what's in the package, and I know we've had challenges with the state of trying to keep it maintained. And I can only go by what's in here. So, and the other answers, Mr. Manager, if you can get those that he left on his desk, just get us to the commission as a whole. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions to Mr. Anderson or the manager at this time? All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, Madam Attorney, 13-3.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving a procedure for securing outside legal services, including investigations, requiring the city manager to share information, documentation, and consult with the city attorney on any and all past, pending, and future investigations where outside counsel or a law firm has been contacted on behalf of the city, authorizing the city attorney monetary authority up to $10,000 to secure an outside investigator where appropriate, providing for incorporation and recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city attorney.
Move for discussion.
Move for discussion by Commissioner Kelly. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, this item is an item that was brought to you all pursuant to a discussion at the last commission meeting, whereby the members of the commission invited me to present a resolution introducing the process to address the issue of the city manager hiring law firms and lawyers to perform work, whatever that may be, including investigations. We are best able to help the city and protect the city if we know what liability issues exist at the earliest possible opportunity. And this gives us that information that we believe we need in order to represent the city. We are the lawyers who are hired by the city as the city attorneys, and as all other cities, any legal issues, lawyers, always go through the city attorney's office and never through management. And so we're asking that these normal procedures be placed in a resolution so that it can be codified, and we will have a process for this going forward. Thank you.
Okay, this was open for discussion by Commissioner Kelly. Move for discussion by Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a problem with the legislation, as I mentioned in my briefing. What I'd like to do, and to my colleagues, is to add a line under one of the whereases after the amount, without commission approval, but also to notify the city commission of such action that they're engaging in, whatever it may be, that the commission will be at least notified. Obviously, not any specifics that they could share, but at least be notified. So I'd like the attorney to just whatever that wording would be, because I'd like to add that as a part of the language so that we would know. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Madam Attorney, do you accept that amendment?
Yes, sir.
All right, will we need to vote, or you're good with the amendment?
I'm fine with the amendment.
All right.
You'll need to vote on the amendment and then on the main motion.
All right, any other questions or concerns on this item?
I had a quick, Mr. Mayor,
Uh,
quick question.
Commissioner Williams?
Through the mayor to the attorney. I asked this in my briefing and some of the language I think got me a little confused. So maybe you can dispel my thoughts. Is this for only investigation if an attorney is needed, or would it be if for any reason an attorney or would need to be
Absolutely. For any
so,
reason.
For any okay,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
I just want to make it clear
Yes, ma'am.
because when I asked, she said investigations only. So I just wanted to be clear with that.
Everything.
Thank you so much. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
All right. Okay, good, because I had the same question as well, but we're good. So let's vote. Commissioner Kelly moved an amendment to this resolution. Can I get a second on the amendment?
Second.
That's to inform the commission, All right, Madam Clerk, on the amendment.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes on the amendment 5-0.
All right, and if there are no other questions or concerns, we can go ahead and call the question. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Moving on to new items, which will be 14-1, Madam Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving issuance of a request for proposals, RFP, for a qualified general contractor for Lift Station 4 relocation and rehabilitation services, providing for corporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion? Move it. Moved by Commissioner Kelly.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Mr. Manager, go ahead and present the item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, we must keep all of our pump stations operating and keep them out of moratorium. When a pump station goes into moratorium, we are not permitted to allow businesses, new businesses to come into those areas. So we have some older and public infrastructure and older pump stations. So we're looking and working to get all of those pump stations updated or replaced as soon as possible. This is an item coming from our Public Works Department for pump station number 4. So if there's any question about that process, we have Mr. Aria Austin here to answer those questions. However, this is just the RFP. We plan to put this bid out. We're bringing it on an emergency basis, so we get a little extra time as we're using ARPA funds to fund this project. And we're available. The team is here available to answer any questions about any of those items.
All right. We're gonna open up the floor for questions to the manager if there are any. I do have one, Mr. Manager, unrelated, however related. And I believe this was brought up in the past by one of my colleagues. Are there any pump stations right now that are under moratorium?
And we have Mr. Austin here to answer that, our Director of Public Works.
We have Aria Austin, Public Works Director. We currently have 3 pump stations on the moratorium.
Okay, can you provide that through the manager's office in writing and exactly where they are
Yes, sir.
and what areas they affect?
Okay.
Any other questions for the manager or the Mr. Austin,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. I'm glad to see it coming forward. I know we've got to push it. Mr. Manager, you said that we were doing this on emergency. So we're doing this one quicker than the 30 days. We're doing this on the 7-day. Since emergency, we're just following the standard 45 days
Currently,
for it to be out.
yes, sir. Currently, we're following the standard
45,
30.
30,
25
Yes,
to 30
30.
days. yes.
25 to 30 days.
Yes, sir.
And then when it comes back in, the process that it normally takes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we're really talking all of mostly October,
Yes.
getting it back in, assuming
recommend
you get
that
folks that are
expedited?
qualified. Yeah, I've been asking this question. That's why I'm asking again. Do you, and it's just a question for, I guess you're the expert. We've had challenge in the past when we put out RFPs and they come back and a lot of questions are asked. Sometimes the money that we're budgeting or think we're going to spend turns out to be more needed. And I'm always going to use the Sesame Street Canal project as an example. So do we have a contingency or money available in another line item should it come back higher? Because we're not going to get a chance to keep going back out with this because it's ARPA funds initially. That's really my concern.
Yes.
There-
Yes, sir,
there-
we do.
We will?
Yes, sir.
One
Okay.
second, Commissioner Kelly. We're gonna ask everybody that's in the chamber that we keep the noise down to a minimum. We're conducting a meeting. Thank you. And if you have to have conversations, we're asking that you exit the chamber. You can have your conversation in the hallway. Let's be respectful, please. Commissioner Kelly?
Okay, that's what I want to make sure because I know it's ARPA funds. We got a timeline.
Yes, sir.
And if it comes back, we've had challenge before with the amount we think it's going to cost versus, and I know pump station critical. So the manager's saying we will be able to have some additional, or there's a line item,
Contingency. yes.
contingency
Yes.
to do it. Okay, that's my main thing. If we're going to come back, and I would even go a step further. If for some reason when it comes back, and it needs to be a special meeting, because I don't want to get us into last minute, especially with ARPA funds and lose the money. So that's why I'm kind of bringing it up. So I'm glad to see it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or concern to Mr. Austin? just please get the report to the commission and request it through the
Yes, sir.
manager's office, if you don't mind. Mr. Manager, please.
Absolutely.
All right, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bath.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, 14-2. 14-2.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving issuance of an invitation to bid, ITB, for a qualified professional firm to complete the Cairo Lane and Northwest 127th Street drainage, utilities, and roadway improvements project, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly, second by Commissioner Bass. Mr. Manager, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This particular project is actually coming from our capital improvement projects, with that manager being Adelina Gross. This is also going to be funded with an ARPA, and this is also going to be a bid project. And we have Ms. Gross available to answer any questions that you may have about this item.
All right, any questions on this item to Ms. Gross or the city manager?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I'm not going to repeat the whole thing, but the same thing I just said previously to make sure that we get it done and meet. So I don't want to be redundant, but of course, Caroline has been out there forever. So the same thing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I won't even.
All right, no problem. We can go ahead and call the question. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Ms.
Commissioner
Gross.
Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bath.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, and we are at 15A1 was withdrawn. So 15A2.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, providing approval of the special exception request to operate a car dealership on the property located at 2695 Northwest 141st Street and identified by folio 08-2122-000-0120 in the Commercial Liberal B2 zoning district and within the corridor mixed use overlay, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Mr. Manager, can I get a motion? And then we'll let you present it, and then we'll open up a public hearing.
Move it.
Moved by
Second.
Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Bass. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is coming from our Community Planning and Community Development Department. All projects and new businesses must go through that department in order to get approved and be presented to the commission. This is for a car dealership that's currently somewhat existing in that location already. We're bringing it to some conformity, and we have the Director of Community Development, Mr. Gregory Gay, here to answer any questions that the commission may have.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Any questions to Mr. Gay on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I raised several concerns in my briefing that I hope Mr. Gay has some answers. The reality is this requires a special exception because of the zoning that's not normally would be there. And so because it requires a special exception, we're going to allow it there. I know it's been some businesses there. My challenge is not really the business car dealership as much as it is the traffic flow. And I mentioned that in the meeting because when you look at that area with the fish market, with the school, with the traffic coming from behind the business and only one entrance in, I'm concerned about not only safety in the traffic, but you have a lot of folks walking from around the surrounding areas. And with only one entrance and really no real signage or what have you, that's a concern that I have. And I raised that in the briefing. So I don't know if Mr. Gay has some answers, but I can see a real challenge with just one way in, one way out. But not only the car dealership, but you have two other businesses already functioning there, a tire and a, hauling company or trailer company there that's using it already, and they're good because that's zoned for it. But I'm just worried about the traffic. What have we done, or what is the plan, if there's any, to mitigate? Because you do have a lot of folks walking from the apartments and the houses with their little buggies, and we know there's no sidewalk that goes across there that wind up in the road. So I raised that in my briefing. So hopefully we got some answers of how we can deal with that. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Gay?
Gregory Gay, Director of Planning and Community Development. Relating to your concerns regarding the traffic and pedestrian vehicular issues, we did go by the property. There are sidewalks that are presently going around that particular property. So we believe that the sidewalks will address those particular concerns as it relates to pedestrian safety. We do agree that having the number of businesses at this location and only having one point of ingress and egress from a vehicular standpoint needs to be addressed. We did reach out to the property owner to see if they could do an additional drive, whether it be a one-way drive or a two-way drive going out to Service Road. That way you will have more than one way to get in and out of this particular property, especially with it being a car dealership. As it relates to some of the other points, we believe that we can have them do the loading and unloading of vehicles on site. The site is just about an acre in size. So that is something that can be accomplished on site within the property and not on the drive right away. So that will also help with the safety concerns to be addressed with this particular site.
Okay, I appreciate your answers. You made you reached out to them, but what you didn't give me was they agreed to do them, number one. Number two, the sidewalk is there, but once you get up to a certain point, the sidewalk is not there when you go into the entrance, correct?
No, sir. The
I'm
sidewalk.
saying when you go, but there's no way for somebody to know if I go across there because there's no signage, there's no anything there. And that was part of my concern because when you come out from the backside from 141st and you're at that stop sign, or if you're coming off of State Road 9 or coming around the access road, and that's what I'm getting at. Who would be responsible for that signage to increase the awareness for the safety? Because people walk there, go to the grocery store up there, to the fish market, et cetera. And that's my concern. We would bear that cost. Would they bear the cost? And again, it's because we're doing this as a special exception because it's not permitted already. So I just want to have some assurances that is going to be addressed or taken care of through your office, or how would it work? I'll yield to my colleagues if they have any concern, but those are the ones I had. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
For those particular safety concerns, they will have to provide signage for those particular concerns, especially for the vehiculars. So they will be providing signage.
Okay, and Commissioner Kelly, you know?
Thank you.
All right, my concerns were similar to what Commissioner Kelly brought up. It's the ingress and egress. And it's a lot going on in that little area, but it to have only one entrance and one exit. So is that something that you all can go back to the table and have a conversation about?
We can make that a part of the special exception for them to do that.
All right, and then this is completely unrelated, but you all, the pictures that if we don't know the area, we wouldn't know what we're looking at. The pictures are black and white and they're blurry. So, Mr. Manager, this is what. So can we get colored pictures that you can actually see? Because a lot of us are going by memory or just going I did a drive-by because I couldn't figure out what I was looking at. So can we get, colored where it's legible? You can see it. All right, and then we got to address the concerns of the ingress and egress. That's my issue, the safety.
The safety. Yes, sir.
Any other concerns,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Bass?
my suggestion would be to go back. And everything that Commissioner Kelly spoke about, the mayor spoke about, is also my concerns. I can't support it unless we have a yes from them in black and white that they will take care of what needs to be taken care of, because I can't see it happening like that where, like everybody's saying, it's too congested, and for us to go ahead and do what they want before we get what we need, I think that's putting the cart before the horse.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Williams?
So I know everything that we said, that we would like to see happen before we can move forward. I'm just gonna tell you, I flat out don't want that there. And so we already have.
One second. All right, if we have to stop the meeting for the conversations, we're gonna ask people to leave. We're conducting a meeting. So please. Commissioner Williams, I'm sorry.
So to be honest with you, we already have some car dealerships that are eyesores now. So are we, we know that there was one there and I know, and there were some issues with that car dealership in terms of license or whatever they had. Is this the same dealership?
Yes, it is.
So we had an issue with a dealership that would not be in compliance with the city. And now we're gonna bring them back into the city?
Well, the whole purpose of the special exception is to address those particular concerns relating to them not being in compliance, not going before the process that we're going through now with the special exception itself. And once they have achieved that, then they will be able to go forth and move to get their licensure in a proper form and fashion.
Correct.
With your approval.
And I think that's my problem that I have. My problem that I have, and that's why I brought it up, is it wasn't done properly from the beginning. And so now they're asking for the commission to make an exception for them. But that exception should have been made from the beginning. They should have followed the protocols and the steps to make sure that they were in compliance from the beginning. So that's just number one. Number two, I already know what it's gonna look like. Black and white, whatever. It's gonna look like the same that we look. It'll be nice in the beginning, and then it's just gonna just be torn apart. But when I think of dealerships, or even if they're like small mom and pop or used car, you still have to have the big tow trucks that are going to bring those cars in and out. And so I think about a school right there, whether the ingress and egress, I get that, but I just foresee a problem, and I always like to forward think when I vote on stuff, and I can't support that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just one more question. How long has that business been there?
It's my understanding the business has been at that location for about 1.5 to 2 years, but there have been other businesses very similar to this one that have operated previously.
Which is out of the zone?
It's allowed by the zoning, but you will have to do a special exception process, which they did not do. And they just basically did not get proper licensure, and they just open up for business.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. I also raised the point because with car dealerships, cars coming, if it could be possible, certain days and times that they would even come to bring vehicles like you do at restaurants. I raise all those for that purpose. What I would like to see, is obviously to defer it, because you got to get answers from the owners if they're even amenable to doing it. First of all, I mean, I know you're saying you go back with them. So is it possible, I don't think this is time certain, Mr. Manager, to the attorney, if it got deferred even, because, a lot of my questions are not answered that I raised in the briefing, and you got to go back to the owners. You said you had reached out to them, but I guess you haven't gotten all of the answers.
Correct.
Because I think you probably could do another entrance or exit somewhere. It's big enough space. So I'm not totally opposed to it, but I do want to make sure it's safe. So would it be possible to defer it so you can get all those questions answered and timelines, or not? I don't know if it's time sensitive or not.
It is not a time sensitive issue. So if the administration is amenable, we would do that.
No, I'm just speaking for me now. I mean, I just want to get those questions answered before I make a final decision. But as it stands now, it's just too congested, what have you. And I'd like to see even the fact of the vehicles brought in, certain times that doesn't interfere with the school zones and things of that nature, and some of the other things that my colleagues mentioned. So if it's not time sensitive, I don't want to just not say we may not have it, but I would prefer you defer it to address those concerns and bring it back to the commission, and then they can make a final decision. But I'll, see what the majority wants to do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Manager?
Yes, if there's no further questions from the commission, Administration, we have heard had your concerns. We have documented and noted those. Well, we can defer this item to October 9th. The next commission meeting. That should be sufficient time to have Community Development Department voice your concerns and meet with the applicant.
All right, this item has been deferred. This item has been deferred. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going into 16A1. No, ma'am, we deferred the item. Thank you. We have public hearing on that item, but we deferred it. Thank you. Madam Attorney, 16A1.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending an ordinance prohibiting the storage of recreational vehicles, specifically amending Article 5, Section 22-116 of the City of Opa-locka's Land Development Regulations to extend the time for the city's public information campaign intended to educate residents on requirements of the ordinance from 90 days to 180 days pertaining to the removal of recreational vehicles, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by Commissioner Williams.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Commissioner Williams, this is your legislation. I'll go ahead and let you present and then we'll open up for public hearing.
I'm gonna let the city attorney speak on it.
All right, Madam Attorney.
Yes, Commissioners, this is the same item that was on the, on a previous agenda and or discussion on the previous agenda about the recreational vehicles. And what you all wanted to see was the time period for notice to the public to be expanded so that the public had an opportunity to be versed on what, in every other respect, the ordinance is the same that you passed previously, but this would allow an amendment prior to the time that it actually would go into effect for enforcement. And you also mentioned as a part of the last meeting that you wanted to allow Commissioner Williams to have an opportunity to work with the city attorney's office and the city manager's office to come up with some changes that that she thought would be supported by her colleagues. So we would just ask that you, we would just have you know that nothing has changed with what you previously recommended other than the notice period to inform the public of what should take place and how this should be enforced.
Got it.
For the mayor.
Commissioner Williams.
Okay, and I also just want to be clear that I will not be taking 180 days to bring this back. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so public hearing is open. Public hearing is open.
Hi, good evening. Well, I have a Spanglish, huh? My English is not good. I use my friend. She heard me now when I tried to explain something. My name is Luis Galvez. I live in 1206 Wilmington Street, Opa-locka. Okay. Bueno, primero agradecer que tomen en consideración esto.
First, he wants to thank you for taking into consideration of this item.
Siento que deberían realmente tomar una decisión que beneficie a todos.
He feels like there should be a decision that will benefit everybody.
Al final es el objetivo de vivir en un país con democracia, con leyes, con oportunidades para todos.
Finally, we live in a land that is democracy and, and justice for all.
Nada, lo dejo a merced de su conocimiento y lo que han visto conjuntamente con las personas que estamos afectadas.
And he leaves it all to to you guys to see the people who the affected ones are.
Y les agradezco una vez más la oportunidad de podernos dejar aquí, tratar de expresar lo que sentimos, lo que estamos afectados en esta situación.
And once again, he wants to thank you he wants to take the opportunity to thank each and one of you to allow them to listen to their concerns.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open.
Mi nombre es Osmani Cruz, 900 Cutie Drive. I use it later. La impresión que tenemos todos, que no estamos acostumbrados a cómo se hacen las ordenanzas en Opa-locka,
The problem is that they are not used to the ordinance of Opa-locka.
es que aunque tienen un procedimiento, nosotros nos fuimos enterados de cómo se fue dando los pasos y el procedimiento, y entonces nada más nos enteramos cuando ya llegó la ley, la ordenanza ya aprobada.
He says that the ordinance was not, the only time that they found out is when it was too late for them to stress their concerns.
Hay personas que tienen bote, personas que tienen jet ski, personas que tienen Airbnb y todos, la mayoría en su caso, lo usan para lo que es, para vacacionar, algunos como storage.
Some have RVs, some have jet skis, and some has boats, but they use it for that, for entertainment, for recreational.
Cuando uno compra una propiedad en Opa-locka, en el caso de nosotros somos propietarios, lo compramos con la idea de hacernos de un Airbnb para salir con la familia, de hacernos de un bote para salir aunque sea un weekend al año.
He said that the intention when they bought their RVs was to take a vacation with their families at least once a year.
Para así criar a sus hijos y etcétera. Entonces, ustedes han hecho una ordenanza de la cual nosotros no nos enteramos hasta que estuvo aprobada.
And the ordinance was made by the dais and it was passed and they didn't know about it.
No estoy diciendo que ustedes violaron la ley, ustedes hicieron sus procedimientos como tienen ya hecho.
He's saying that there was nothing, he's stressing that it was nothing wrong doing, but that it was done, you know.
Pero
They would
nosotros
not
somos
know.
una comunidad que no estamos acostumbrados por ejemplo, yo nunca he leído el Nuevo Herald.
¿Cómo?
Yo nunca he leído el Nuevo Herald, entonces no sé lo que se aprueba en Opa-locka porque yo no leo el Nuevo Herald.
He said that he's never heard, he doesn't read the Miami Herald. So when that ordinance or that came out, he didn't know.
Entonces yo pienso que esa ordenanza, entiendo que se aprobó, pero pienso que debería revocarse y empezarla de cero y hacer como yo considero que es una ordenanza, que es con regulaciones, si es que existen, por tamaño, por peso, por cantidad, pero no decir todo el mundo para afuera.
He's saying that maybe his suggestion is to the ordinance to be reconsidered and remade into, you know,
Sí,
with
o sea,
certain regulations.
sabemos que hay que haber regulaciones, o sea, todos sabemos que tienen que haber regulaciones, pero todos para afuera no es una regulación, es un vete.
He said that he understands that there are regulations and rules, but just to tell them that they all have to be removed is not fair.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Esposito, and the only question that I have is,
State your address for the record.
the what?
Address.
561 Charada Avenue. We're gonna receive a warning, or how it's gonna, during this process? We're gonna receive the warning, it's not gonna be a warning, just to clarify.
We'll get to that, and soon when public hearing is open, we'll get to it.
Oh, sorry, I don't understand this.
Él dice que cuando se acabe los comentarios públicos, entonces ellos van a hablar de eso.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry, guys.
all right. Public hearing is still open. Hello.
Let me try in English. It's not my first language, but I have a question after.
Your name and
My name
address.
is Guillermina Gomez and my address is 900 Cottage Drive, Opa-locka. And my question, because I am not involved how the government is regulation or creating regulations, but after this meeting, what is the next step about this ordinance? Because as a resident of Opa-locka, we need changes for regulations, but we do not need it to ban or something like that, like a RB now is the first step. So my question is, what is the next step once we decided to extend the 180 days is now? So is a possibility the ordinance will be revoked and revocations for regulations or what is next?
All right. We'll get to that question when we get to the discussion of the item.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
No problem. Public hearing is still open. Public hearing is closed. All right, Commissioner Williams, if you don't mind, can you explain it? I'm explaining in English and then you can translate for me. All right, so what we're doing tonight is that Commissioner Williams brought the ordinance back to extend the time period of the educational period.
Lo que están haciendo,
Go ahead.
lo que ellos están haciendo esta noche es, la comisionada Williams trajo la ordenancia otra vez al público, pero es para extender la educación de la ordenancia.
And during that time, she will work with the city manager and the city attorney because we all hear your concerns, she's heard your concerns, and try to come up with a plan that is amenable to everyone.
Y durante ese tiempo, ella va a venir a hablar, ella va a hablar con el manager de la ciudad y la abogada de la ciudad para ver si podemos venir en un agradecimiento para todo el mundo. Un acuerdo, gracias.
All right. And also,
Gracias.
it takes 2 readings. So this is the first reading. So if it passes tonight for the extension, then it will come back for a second reading. And at that moment, the time will be extended. And during the interim of that, Commissioner Williams will come up with a plan to present it back to the residents of the city of Opa-locka, and we'll move forward like that way.
Okay, so la ordenancia son dos, se leen dos veces. Esta es la primera. En ese tiempo van a venir otra vez a la segunda leyenda de la ordenancia. En ese tiempo, la comisionada Williams va a tratar de hacer un plan para ver lo que se puede hacer para extender la ordenancia. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I want to turn it over back to the sponsor so that she
Yeah.
Hot topic, hot topic. So again, and not to say everything you just said, but it's the time period of education. It's not being repealed. We're not revoking. It's not being thrown in the trash. I am going to come work with the city manager so that we can take what the concerns of not just the current concerns of the commission was it wasn't enough time period for education. And we heard that part. So that's what this is to give everyone enough time. I believe by the last 3 meetings, from the fact that it's standing room only, everybody's been educated on this ordinance. So that's not the issue. And as again, the issue that we hear, I hear you, and then I will come back with a item that hopefully we can work together and it's acceptable by all. But I do want to say something. I want to clear something up that it's the second time I've heard it. The commission did everything right. So I want to say that we live in America and it is a democracy. This is the way every board is run. It doesn't matter if it's the city of Miami or the county. We pass ordinances and all ordinances have 2 readings, and that's exactly what we did. So I don't want to put that out that we did something wrong. And I want to make that clear. We did everything right. We did everything right. It's unfortunate that you did not hear about it. Just because you did not hear about it doesn't mean we did something wrong. You don't hear about all the ordinances and you don't hear about all the resolutions we pass if you're not actively involved in the city. So because you've heard about it after the fact does not mean we did something wrong from the beginning. That's it. Thank you so much.
All right. Any other questions or concerns on this item? If not, we can go ahead and call the question. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes, on first reading.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 first reading.
All right. Going into the second item, 16B1.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida,
We're still in a meeting. We're still in a meeting. Go ahead.
an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending the annual adopted general proprietary and special revenue funds budgets for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, and ending September 30, 2024, adjusting revenues and expenditures as reflected in Exhibit A, providing for the expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the city manager to take certain actions, providing for an appropriation of all budgets and expenditures, providing for fees consistent with appropriations and amendment, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is, first reading was held on September 11th, 2024. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, go ahead and we'll open up for a public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is our most recent budget amendment for the closing fiscal year, which ends on September 30th. As you all know, our charter requires, does not allow administration to make even interline transfers for budgets, for budget adjustments. So anytime we make any changes, we have to bring those back to the commission for approval. And we have the Director of Financial Support Services, Mr. Robert Anathan, available to answer any questions about this particular amendment.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Any questions for Mr. Anathan on this item? All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, going on to our city manager's report, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. We have some, we have an update, an additional update that I'll provide under the mayor's report.
All right, any questions for the manager?
I do, if no one else does. I do.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is almost 2 years that I've been the vice mayor. And I have to ask this question. Mr. City Manager, my last 2 briefings you've missed. May I ask you why?
I'll have to look at my schedule. For one of them, I had a meeting in Doral. The other one, I don't recall, but I can get that back to you.
Okay.
But I certainly will make every endeavor to make your meetings. And if I'm going to miss your meetings, I'll let you know in advance. And I apologize for not letting you know in advance.
Okay, because I don't want for there's still a job that we have to do here, whether we like each other, don't like each other, whatever, we still have a job to do. And I've heard stories as far as how you could be like, and that's fine. But we're your bosses, and I've heard that there's some of us you haven't spoken to in a year and stuff like that. And I thought the other day, I said, if we're his boss and he treat us this way, I can only imagine how he treats the employees that he's in charge of. But then I can't blame him because we as a commission, we accept it, whatever it is, and I'm not going to accept it. So I needed to, for the record, let that be known.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So please allow me to address that. As you said, you had heard, as we know, there are many rumors that we hear here in Opa-locka. That doesn't, just because that's what you heard, that doesn't make it factual. I have always shown you all, particularly you, the utmost respect. It's always been yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You call my phone, I answer. You ask for something, I give it to you. And if I can't give it to you, I'll let you know that. I will always continue to do that regardless of any other circumstances. And that's my commitment to doing my job.
Okay, if you say so.
Any other questions to the, or responses to the city manager?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. Couple of things, Mr. Manager. We got this document, I guess, from the police department. Can you tell me what this is supposed to be? It says commission resolution. Is this supposed to be documents that were related to something before? I haven't read it, but we just got it tonight, so I don't. Is this information that was not part of the previous stuff, or is this? 'Cause I know there was some discussion that there were some pages missing out of the information given to us at the inquiry, and I haven't read it, but I'm just.
If you could give me just a moment, sir.
Okay,
I'll
no
get an answer
problem.
for you. Okay, so that had already, yes, that's from the old resolution. There's nothing new in there. Apparently you'd never received a paper copy, but it was submitted electronically some time ago. And I believe the chief of police is here, is available to answer some questions pertaining to that.
Yes, Mr. Mayor Commission. The electronic version was emailed to the clerk's office. We're going back and forth. She said she couldn't receive it. As we looked at it, the data was too large. So I converted it to a PDF copy and sent her the PDF copy. And that is what you now see, that you now have.
So this is from the inquiry that that you spoke about. So all the items in here are just police related or everything?
That's the full PowerPoint that the pages were missing, and all the other documents that you have that were delivered to you previously on the night of the hearing.
Okay, because some of the questions were raised, and again, I haven't read it, so you could just tell me this in here and I'll look for it later. Because I know it's concerns about who was doing investigations, where they were, what agencies were doing it. And you mentioned, I think there were some pages missing. So all of that is in here now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'll go through it and look. I won't hold up the time for that. But we finally get it. Okay.
Commissioner Kelly, before you go on, Mr. Manager, the pages that you said that you were reading that nobody else had, you were supposed to give them to the commission. Is that included in that document as well?
Yes, and it was, my understanding was it was provided to the clerk's office shortly thereafter.
No,
Mr.
the
Mayor?
pages that,
Mr. Mayor?
Madam Clerk?
After the meeting where you discussed the inquiry resolution,
Mhm.
I haven't received anything. I know the chief attempted to email me the same document that you received this evening, right before the last commission meeting, September 11th. However, there was no attachment to that email, and I finally got the document today, right before the meeting, and that is what's being provided. But any additional information that the manager is making reference to that was emailed to the city clerk's office, I haven't received that information,
Okay, yeah,
just
'cause
for the record.
when I skimmed through it, it looked exactly like the presentation that was presented, but we were still waiting on the documentation. Cause even the chief did a presentation, but the manager, you said you were reading something and I asked you, did you have it? And, or could anybody get it to us? You said it wasn't in the email and no one else had it but you. But I asked you to give it to the commission and we have yet to receive it. So
I believe the chief said that that's in there.
this is the exact same presentation. And you said, well, by your reaction, when he stated that he gave it to us, you didn't even know that he gave it to us. So did you review this?
I reviewed the item that he and I put together the very next day, which included the additional items. Yes, I did. And I do believe that is what is, according to the chief, that is what is before you now.
All right. And then I'll say this, Mr. Manager, that we didn't direct the chief to give us a presentation. We directed you to give us a presentation. So, Chief, we don't need to hear anymore. Thank you. Because the resolution was for the manager to answer the inquiry questions, not the chief of police. So, but if you said the items are in here, like my colleague said, we'll go through them. And I guess you can have one-on-one meetings to go through it with us with the city attorney. All right. Commissioner Kelly, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I haven't read it, so that's why I
Okay.
deferred. I haven't read it, so I'll look at it. The other questions that I have, we did get tonight the update on the feasibility study that I had requested. Again, my concern, and I know some of them are ongoing, my concerns really are is when some of them were submitted, because some of these items were passed like back in February, and the status says it was submitted to Miami-Dade County. That's on the no parking. But when was it submitted? The same thing for the 4-day work week that was passed in April. We're in September, and we're still gathering, well, it says you've gathered preliminary information. Now you're conducting a comparison analysis with neighboring cities. I would have thought that's all part, but again, that's April, May, June, July, August, September. That's almost 5 months. And again, I see that with several of them. And I know sometimes it takes a while for agencies to get information, but we're passing it, it's being submitted, and then there's a lot of time in between. And that's a concern that I have even with the food pantry, because I was hoping we were going to have that feasibility to make kind of decision on going forward with the Feeding South Florida and others. And your answer was that there are 14 distributions and you're closely working with an organization to outsource, but that's very vague. Again, we're still in limbo whether it will be done, and this was passed again a while back. The last one that I want to reference is Jan, we just talked about, submitted on July 10th, and we're in September. And again, what's the timeline on many of these that we're submitting to the county that they're giving us a feedback, or whoever is our point person, to say, yes, we received it. You can expect an update in 2 months, 3 months, 1 month. That's a concern I have. And that segues into some other things that I've sent to Mr. Manager. And again, I saw the email where you asked your staff to get with me or to address it. But, you know, I can only direct 3 people, you, the attorney, and the clerk, well, 1 of 5 that can direct. I have not gotten back some of the answers that I would hope to have gotten back. No updates. The last one I got, for example, on the Pine Tree Lake canal cleaning, one was verbal that was received by staff, and the other was in black and white that you were looking, well, you contacted the county attorney on something. And I responded back, well, if it's dealing with an attorney, then our attorney should be involved, because obviously that's some legal issue. I haven't heard anything back. Now, I'm not one of those folks that like to call you. Anybody can tell you, I don't call you that often, correct? If I call you, know it's got to be. I don't like the fact that when you have residents and or businesses trying to get information, I'm just trying to get information. I'm not trying to set policy, trying to get them a clarity on what's going on, and don't get an update. I have a challenge with that. Pine Tree Lake, we went through a long list. The last official word I got was that we need to get signatures from some of the folks over there. One of the residents that got some signatures, we found out that's not enough. But my challenge really with many of these is we're not getting, or I'm not getting, the updated information that I'm asking for. All you got to say is it's with the county. We project 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Here's who we're dealing with. But when I heard, you know, you're waiting on the county attorney, to me, that's legal. And so the attorney should be involved in that. And if we're still waiting on the county for some update, then that should have came back as well. And I keep hearing that happening over and over. And I don't like verbal, so I'm going to say to you, because I can only talk to you. I don't care to hear verbal. I want black and white. So don't communicate in verbal, communicate in black and white. And so that's a major challenge I have with a lot of things that go forward. And I did see the email. I'm going to send the record. I saw the email where you directed your department assistants to get with me, address, follow up. So I'm going to say to you, because you're the manager, they need to do a better job of that in some cases. And I'm not going to call names, but you know what I'm talking about. Because otherwise, then I have to come to the meeting and get on your case. And it seems like I'm attacking you. I'm not really attacking you. I'm trying to get information because residents are asking me. The same thing about the flooding issue over in one of our areas. And I know it's a major infrastructure issue. I know we got drainage issues. And so what I suggested was possibly a temporary solution, because I know in other areas where we've had high water and we know it, we go out, send the pumps, we do some temporary things. And I indicated or asked, could that even be done, or a temporary plan? Hadn't heard anything. Could we do it, or it's going to cost this much, or it's got to go to commission, whatever that would be. So at least we can let the residents, the community know, or business owners, here's what we're doing. We all know, as you said, I think all of us are aware, we got $100 million worth of infrastructure challenges. You know, I got called the other day over at the industrial park, and I know we did some drainage over there. The water is so high over there, you would think we haven't done anything. Am I correct? I mean, but we've done something, but obviously it's not enough. But not to get information to folks is unacceptable. So I'd like to get answers on that in black and white updates from your folks that you got assigned. They want to come by the office, they can, but I want to get in black and white because I want to be able to respond to the community and the business owners. And I think what I'm requesting is something all of us want, is to try to relieve the challenges because we got flooding, it's raining, it's whatever. And if it's in front of our house or our business, we want to try to do something. And if that means coming back to the commission with some kind of temporary whatever, the commission can decide, but to not give an answer or at least some kind of possible plan or relief is challenging. I just sent you one today from 19th Avenue and same kind of challenge. You know, I know that's a big issue. I've seen it, we know it, but if there's any kind of temporary relief, we need to provide that as well. So you can respond. It's not really you. You got to deal with your staff, but I'd like to get some answers on that so I can be able to say to the community where we are. And again, if it requires special legislation to come back because of the cost or something, then bring it back or let me know and I'll sponsor if need be, because I know we're in those times. That's the other thing that I had, other than the trash receptacles on 141st. I know that was part of the plan or what have you. And we were doing, I guess they were putting them in as part of beautification. Do you know when they're going to get to that area? I see we're working on the Sesame Street Canal project, so I won't bring that up. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is I mentioned before in the budget, a line item about business incentives and trying to get businesses help, whatever. I know the CRA is doing some things, but from the city side, if you could just give us an update, what is being planned per the new budget, because I know there's money allocated for it. I would appreciate that. That's all I have. The others, I'll, for the sake of time, I will send to an email. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Did you want to respond?
Oh, thank you, Commissioner Kelly. We will get that information to you.
All right. Any other questions or concerns to the manager?
Through the mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
to the manager. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep it brief, but understandable. Okay, so my question was, I'm trying to read this document that is, maybe I missed something. I'm seeing something on page 18 where it says, where is number 8, criminal investigations? And we talk about investigations a lot. We're initiating investigations on people. Upon my arrival on the dais, we received a letter from Mr. Dakari Griffin, talked about investigations. And I think where I'm troubled, that we have it right here in black and white where it says internal policies and procedures. Many cities have established procedures for handling complaints against employees. The city of Opa-locka has no such policy. It's interesting because I asked our HR director before commission meeting started, where are we with policies and procedures? And so I think where I'm troubled is we have been talking about policies and procedures for months. Not like, I mean, months, almost a year. I can't gauge. And so I'm looking at, we have a lot of things that just transpired. One of our residents talked about an employee under in the police department. I'll just say that. Investigations, we keep hearing investigations. And so I am almost a little nervous that we are launching investigations, we're doing things, but we don't have standard policies and procedures. And I'm not sure where the city attorney can jump into this, because I just feel like this is going to come back to bite us. Madam HR Director, if you don't mind, I'm so sorry putting you on the spot. I'm so sorry. But I need to know, and I think we all need to know, because everything, and let me just finish what I'm saying. Yes,
Go through the manager to talk.
through the manager. Is it okay if I ask the
Sir-
HR Director?
Certainly. Well, we did provide that information to the commission on the status of where she is with the policies and procedures.
Is it
for
okay
HR.
that I ask her a question?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Madam HR Director,
Yes, Commissioner.
if you don't, where are we with with like stamped, these are our official policies and procedures?
Good evening, Mary Adams, Human Resources Director. I have a presentation that Mr. Manager and I have gone through. We've spent about an hour and a half going through. It's very extensive. The presentation includes me drafting new policies, and only 2 policies within the current handbook were not touched. So I think over 80 policies were revised, changed, deleted in some way. There is a pay plan that was requested. It's an extensive development of processes. Every process has a form that goes with it. And so it's a very big book for he and I to go through. We have the handbook policy, the pay plan policy, and we have a chart where I have done a comparison of those 3 policies of the ASME and the PBA. And all of that work is ready. I'm actually continuing to revise it as I hear things, that we're working on in HR. But it is ready, and he will meet with me and we will go through it and get that in front of you. The plan is, Mr. Manager will go through the policies with me. He has to review them and work with me. We will then roll them out to you all, probably in a workshop environment. Then we will roll them out to the directors and train them on all of the policy and procedures, and
Okay.
then the employees.
Okay. My question to you,
Yes.
a organization of this size, does it take that long to create policies and procedures for this organization?
It hasn't taken me that long. We have a draft
Okay, well,
that we
so
are
that's,
working through.
and so, thank you. I don't want to, you have a draft, and
Yes.
I don't want to hand spank you, because it's not you. I just think at some point, everything that we're doing, and so I think I'm preaching to the choir. Everything that's happening in our city right now, whether it's hirings or firings or demotions or promotions or whatever is happening, all of this stuff, I don't know. I'm not legal. I didn't go to school for law, but not having a clear set of policies and procedures, and we are making decisions and we're doing things, and quite frankly, things that I feel like is going to come back to bite us without having something done. So I don't know. I'm going to make a motion. If you don't mind, I'm going to make a motion by next meeting, which is what, October, is that? Oh, I can't do that. I see,
No,
Madam.
ma'am. You can
Thanks
make
a
a
lot.
request of the manager if you'd like.
Yeah,
I can't make a motion.
But she can do it as. a
My
future
job is
agenda
at the
item.
pleasure of the city
Oh,
You
manager.
can do it
thank
when we get to
you.
that point.
When I will, thank you so
Go
much.
to that time.
That's repeal. Okay, so when I get to that, so, because I'm not gonna be on my soapbox, because I know I can be on one. But when I read this right here, and then I'm reading how criminal investigations happen, and I hear that a lot, like, oh, this person's being investigated, or this is an investigation, and then we don't get, the end of the investigation, but just, we hear that word a lot. And so I'm hearing, and then I'm seeing, even the whereas with the employee bonus, maybe I missed it, but because I know the mayor said this was presented. So that's why I said maybe I missed it. So when I see some of this verbiage, it makes me nervous and it gives me pause, because without that, that's the city's Bible, not blasphemy, Lord, but that's a problem, that we're still here and we are making decisions and we're doing things. And I'm going to stop here, but when I get to future agenda items, I'll address it there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Bath, Commissioner Bath, and then we'll go to.
No, go ahead. I'll defer.
Thank you to Ms. Adams. I wanted to know, is the
Yes,
city
ma'am.
attorney also working with you all as it relates to?
No, that would not be.
May I?
that's-
May I?
Yes, sir, of course.
The step that you left out is all department heads, once they complete, once their policies and procedures are completed, those are then submitted to the city attorney for
Okay.
her review.
Okay, for her
Thank you,
input.
Mr. Manager.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Mr.
Commissioner
Mayor.
Kelly,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly.
I didn't know this was gonna come up, but one more time through the management side. Oh, you're in the management, one of them canceled. So while we're evolving our policy and you're meeting and you're revamping and it's a work in progress, we are still under the rule or guise then of our previous policy. And I'm going back, and I could be wrong on the dates, so y'all correct me. I think the last I remember of policies that were adopted, I'm not talking about charter stuff, was back in 2008, 7, 9, somewhere way back then. So we're still under that set of rules unless something has changed from a state procedure or federal law or something. Are we still following those policies or procedures, or how are we dealing with that since this came up? I was going to wait for another meeting, but since it came up, what are we using then?
So that's a 2-point answer. First, yes, the 2007
Okay.
employee handbook, yes, is still in place. That doesn't mean the laws that have been passed since then are within that book.
Okay, I know there's some laws passed, whether, state law, federal law, county law. I understand that part, but that's still our main framework that we're using.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means anything that we're doing, and I'm not really talking about law enforcement investigations, but although that's probably in there too, through the contract, we're following or supposed to be following that 2007 rule book until you bring something back for this commission to pass, outside of a state law change, federal law change, et cetera.
Resolution, et cetera. Yes, sir.
Pardon me?
And resolution.
And resolution that the commission
sir.
would have passed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I'll leave that right there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, sir. I think it's important to give a point of clarification here because some of the language is getting convoluted. All criminal investigations are followed under the policies and procedures of the Opa-locka Police Department. And subject, as Commissioner Kelly said, to the contract. And the city manager has no role outside of what is afforded at the end of that process by the collective bargaining agreement as negotiated by the city of Opa-locka. So I just that continues to be, as Commissioner Williams says, something I've heard over and over again, but I think it's important to clarify that.
I'm sorry, through the mayor.
Commissioner Williams.
I'm sorry. So what's the clarity that the police has a different standard of investigations and you can launch investigations?
In fact, the city manager does not have the authority to direct the police department to open,
that's-
launch, or do
That's
anything.
not what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm saying it's almost like a branch. You're saying you have a branch of the tree, you can launch investigations on employees, but the if it's dealing with the police, the chief and the police launches those investigations, not you.
Essentially, not exactly, but essentially, yes. I don't want to. Yes, let me just say yes. It's
Okay.
the city manager doesn't have the authority to direct criminal investigations.
Criminal.
Correct.
I'm saying employees or
Employees.
anyone else that will come from the city.
Well, yes, yes. And the only way that happens is through complaints that come to the city manager's office from employees or directed at HR, such as happened in the past.
Is that in the 2007 employee handbook?
I'd have to check, but that is
Oh,
what
okay.
we.
I'm just trying to figure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's not a scenario. There's not a scenario for clarification. Let's do both sides then. There's not a scenario where the city manager walks into HR and goes, "Go investigate this person," and that's never happened under my watch. That's never happened. I've never gone into HR and said, go and open up an investigation on this person. Employees have to come to HR department or come to the city manager's office and make complaints. And usually for HR, and if it's just one person talking about another individual, those are handled internally.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I hope that.
No, not at all. You just confused us even the more.
Yeah, that's why I
You
was
just
just saying
confused us
things
even the more
because
because you
yeah.
started with that the manager only comes in on the tail end of an investigation.
For criminal investigation
criminal
based on
only.
the collective bargaining agreement.
But so
What's-
we just received a request for a meeting for something through agencies. So is that the tail end of that investigation? And that came to us from your office?
Something through agencies?
Yeah, you sent a request to meet with every member of the commission individually.
Yes, to
brief
provide you
us on an
information,
invest-
to provide you information and updates for information that we had that was not pertaining to specific to an investigation. It was pertaining to some engagement that the HR director had, and that I
But
thought
you mentioned agencies in that it
there
was
was
it was two
yes,
agencies.
yes, sir. There was an update that we received that we wanted to provide as well.
So that's the tail end of the investigation.
No, sir, that was an update that was provided that we wanted to provide the administration that had nothing to
Okay,
do with an investigation. From my perspective. It's separate issues, sir. That one has nothing to do with the other.
But then how do you know that there are investigations? Because you, to Commissioner Williams' point, you said on multiple times on the dais on record that this is an investigation, even to the tune of threatening the commission last meeting that if we involve ourselves in investigations, we will be hit with a misdemeanor and an ethics complaint. That was
So
a couple
again,
meetings before.
I take issue with that characterization. I feel like it's yeah, I take issue with that characterization, and I would like for us to pull up the record. In no shape, form, or fashion have I threatened the commission. What I did was read the law, read the statute pertaining to the conversation that was being had. That's what I did. And I did that to protect my commission, not to threaten my commission.
Okay, but
Mr. Mayor, while you're gathering your thoughts, because I know you're trying to gather your thoughts, I did get the request from the clerk for a meeting and I declined because I didn't have the time. So I would like to get whatever the update in writing, but I was kind of challenged for the same thing when I saw updates and I saw from FDLE and the state attorney's office, because those are two outside agencies or entities. And I was kind of, why would we be getting those individually? So my schedule wouldn't permit. So I'd like to get whatever information in black and white that they did send so that I would at least be abreast of it going forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to request that. Thank you.
I'll say this, based on what you said was informing to protect the commission. I don't want no information on that, whatever you were sending out from FDLE and the state attorney's office, because we both know they do investigations. I don't want no parts of it. So when it comes out, the findings that they bring, then I'll take it then. So you can give it to whoever is requesting it or meet with whoever.
Hold on
I
just a minute.
declined the meeting.
Okay, hold on for a sec. I don't have a problem with your request, but if it's information that is being shared at this point, then I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, that it's already public record. So if it's public record, it's out
not
there
public record.
anyway.
It's
Then-
not public
then it
record, which
shouldn't
is
be
why I
out.
requested an individual
Say it
meeting.
again,
It's not a public record, sir, which is why I requested an individual meeting.
but the information is coming from FDLE and the state attorney's office according to the to the email, correct? No, I'm saying the email we received requesting the meeting indicated, and that's why I want to be clear, indicated that there were updates just received from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the state attorney's office. So those are outside entities. So if they are giving information that you're going to share with us, I would just assume that's already public. So you're saying it's not public?
It's not public.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm glad you clarified that. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
It's okay then. I don't need to
Okay.
get it if it's confidential. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other concerns or questions to the manager? All right, moving on to our official board reports. I see no board chairs here. We're going into our future agenda items. Do we have any future agenda items,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
for the future agenda item, I would like to proffer an item, and I think I need to have the assistance of the city attorney on this. So that we can have the employee, I'm so sorry, have the policies and procedures completed by the next commission meeting, which is October 9th. Completed, finalized, not in draft, done. And presented to the commission October 9th.
Well, Commissioner, the item would be, if the next commission meeting date is October 9th, you probably want to do the day after it because you'll be passing it that night.
Got it. Okay. I heard, Madam HR Director say something about workshopping or something. Did she want to do that before or after? I wasn't sure.
Mr. Manager, may I? I would like for you to see the information that is reviewed and approved by Mr. Manager before we present it on the days. So I would like a workshop. That is my preference. And of course, it's your decision. It's just that there's so much information that has changed.
So in your opinion, and I'm no offense to the manager, I'm only because you're HR, that's it. Through the mayor to the HR director, does that give enough time for you and the manager to complete this?
I have no idea what his schedule is. I will make mine available. You would have to ask Mr. Manager.
Manager?
I can make my, as you know, our HR director's only here 16 hours a week. So we'll have to, I'll be with her during that time.
I continue to be here since well, okay. I'm available Monday through Friday
Thank you. I'm sure you will.
and Saturday.
Okay.
So
Whatever you
So
want to do.
can
I'm not even-
can it be done?
thank you, sir.
We'll get it done.
Okay, so then because I don't want to, I'm not a fan of workshops, everybody know that. But I'm going to.
What do you suggest, sir? Do you think a workshop's necessary?
Well, if the commission wants to address anything in there before it passes,
Yeah.
then they have to see it first.
Exactly.
So I'll ask my fellow board members, would you all like to push it for the second meeting in October?
Your suggestion is to pass it.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, let's
But
do it.
for us to see it also before we pass it is what Madam Attorney is saying.
So to push it to come to pass it for the second meeting, but in the interim, do a workshop
Yes.
between now, okay.
Maybe before next meeting, like we did tonight.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know if that's enough time. So if,
But we're also missing another step, because I believe the manager said that it has to go to the city attorney for legal sufficiency
Yeah.
first.
okay.
So I guess you have to,
Yeah.
it goes from her, so they said they have the draft, but then you said it's a long document,
It's a lot of information,
so.
but it's broken into pods. I mean, it's not like just a handbook. I have a list, and you know how I present things. It's color coded.
So can you
What
give,
was changed, what was not changed, how,
can you
know.
give what's done to the city attorney now so that she can begin to read through it?
Is that done?
It's in
City
a
manager?
it's in a very, very early draft stage. So we're filling in. Say again?
You said it. So it's like first draft.
Yes.
Before I turn it into the teacher, before it go to final draft.
Yes. And we're putting together something to turn into the teacher, yes.
But that's not good.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly.
So at this point where you are, Mr. Manager, and to the HR Director, you have it compiled. You all
Yeah.
got to get together, I guess, do what y'all need to do, and then bring it to the commission. In the interim now, there's possibly a workshop that would take place. So up until this point, at this moment, the city attorney has not been involved or know anything. I mean, has not looked at a draft or a copy or anything.
No, sir.
May I ask why that hasn't occurred? Because you're talking about changing. You just said that you have laws that have changed and things that have changed and things within the ASME and the PBA agreement. So I don't understand why the city attorney would not have been a part of, as you're doing your pockets and pods or however you have it broken up, so that by the time you get to your end, it would be much smoother to present. But be that as it may, it hasn't been done. So how are you all going to incorporate that part in it, whether through the workshop or to make sure the attorney has looked at it or had, because you said it so much. How do you plan to
We're
do
on
that?
Page 23 of
Pardon me?
117 of the first.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
We're only on page 23 of the first part, so.
Well, I'm not saying where you are. I'm just saying because things have changed with laws and whatever that would
Yeah.
deal with legal, I would just assume that the attorney's office would be on the front end because it is so massive. Because there might be something in there that you all think is okay. You want to present it to us in some form, but the attorney doesn't get it till the end and got 400 pages. That's going to be time
Understood.
consuming. I would suggest y'all think about that. I know my colleague is asking, and I'll defer to her because she's in that system and know more about HR. So I just want to make sure we get something in place. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
And we're still on your future agenda item, but to the manager, and the clerk, we passed legislation addressing policy and procedures where you all gave us some stuff from your department heads. What was that?
That was policies and procedures from those departments that had completed it. And it's the same process. The department heads put together the first draft. It's reviewed by city manager's office, either myself or one of the assistant city managers. Then it goes to the city attorney's office, then it comes to the commission.
So what we passed a couple months ago is separate from what Ms. Adams, you and Ms. Adams is working on now?
Hers has not been completed. So what was passed is, as department heads have finished theirs, we presented those to you. And then sometimes I think a couple of them, we made some changes and we brought those back. So some departments have had actually come before you twice, but HR has not come before you, sir.
So what's laying in the wind is HR policies, not, because what we talked about, what she said earlier was departmental and HR. So what you're saying is the only thing that's laying in the wind is just HR policies? I know we passed legislation.
I'll have to check with the department heads, but I do know HR is outstanding. I don't know if there's anybody else that has not had an initial policy and procedure reading, but I can get you that information.
Mr. Mayor, can I piggyback?
Please, and Madam
So-
Clerk, can you send that legislation to the commission, please?
So the ones that was passed, Mr. Manager, if I'm understanding correctly, that the commission passed, those are operating now?
Yes, sir.
as policies and
Yes, sir.
procedures?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you're not reviewing any of those. You're just doing HR and
Yes.
whatever that hadn't been
Yes, sir.
done. Okay. So there's no laws or anything that's changed on any of those that were passed by the
Those go-
commission a while back?
Those go to the city attorney before coming to you. So the city attorney's already reviewed those, the ones that you've approved.
Okay, so
Through the,
okay, so the ones that the mayor's referencing from departments that have been passed, the city attorney's already looked at those and they're utilizing those in the departments now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I guess the mayor's asking that the clerk give us a copy of that. I want to be clear. So all you're doing is just HR and nothing else?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But there are some other departments that weren't finished either, though. That's why I'm asking that question. Not just HR, but there's some other departments that had not been passed by the commission that were still working. So I need to know those as well.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll wait.
through the mayor.
Madam Attorney?
Yes, my recollection is there were some that came or that were going to go onto the agenda, but it had a lot of errors in it and it was pulled. So I don't know if it actually came back again, those that had to do with departments.
Madam Clerk.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask that Madam Clerk provides that information, and in the interim of time, because we need to move on.
Yeah.
You wanna?
I don't even know. I don't at this point, because it's in like first draft. How do we move forward? Can somebody between Mr. Manager and HR Director, like this has to be at the forefront
Yes.
of,
We'll expedite it, even, it's a lot.
can you
Well-
do this before I leave?
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't look like,
Absolutely, we can, and we will.
but I mean, I just, because I almost feel like I have to put out legislation to make it happen.
You do.
So
I'm serious.
can you do within the next 30 days or next 45 days that it comes back? And
But-
in the timeframe.
Mr. Mayor, why are you looking at your time? I would think that we would have had to have passed it because wasn't that part of the bargaining units? Some of those
And it was
agreements?
finding, one of the findings.
No, those,
It was a part of the
Actually,
findings.
I think that may have been a different issue. Those may have been different issues, but I'm sure the clerk will find it and
Okay.
get it to
No,
you.
but I know policy and procedure was a part of the findings, and it was.
I
do
think
know
that had to do with the financial issues only for the,
No,
no.
they had
okay.
policy, majority of the stuff that came back talked about, there's no policy or procedure. And when we went to Tallahassee, that was one of the things that they brought up, that we need to update our policies and procedures. And I think, I was one that passed that legislation. I remember that. So, Madam, are you gonna withdraw your motion, or are you gonna tweak it, or how you wanna?
You want, are we saying 30 days?
I guess that's a question to
I don't know.
HR, the manager, and the attorney, because what's realistic for you all?
Yes.
Because you all are not talking.
You're
What's
the
realistic
expert,
for
so
you?
I
I
can
don't
meet
know.
starting tomorrow with the draft I have.
So,
I have the handbook, I have the regulation book, I have the pay plan. And I have all the charts and forms to go with all of those documents ready.
Madam Attorney, if we get this to you in 2 weeks, would that be sufficient time for your review?
I don't know what it is, so I would hesitate to
Okay.
just say it's enough time when I have no idea, and she makes it sound like it's thousands of pages, so.
That's true. That's true. She does. That's true. She does.
wow.
I don't even know how to make this
I-
motion at
I
this point.
think the challenge is, it's not the number of pages, it's how
Yeah.
every word on every page has, where some departments may just tweak theirs every year and, move along. We're going from 2007.
Yeah.
So it's, if you want to do, I've watermarked, rather I put tracking, and it just looks like someone put blood on the page. But you have to track everything that was changed on every page. So if they want to see the tracking, that's a whole nother thing.
So by October 9th, will we be on the second draft?
Let's make it happen.
I can make it
Let's make it
happen.
happen.
No, I said second. I didn't say
Let's make-
final. I
I
said second
don't-
We'll
draft
make it happen.
and include the attorney, maybe give her
What I
50
have now.
pages out of the 1,000 at a time.
I do not have 1,000 pages,
So,
maybe 500.
okay, I will withdraw my motion. I know I'm making a mistake by withdrawing it, because I'm telling you, y'all gonna be passing this in March. But yeah, I'm serious. I'm telling you. So, but I'll withdraw it, and hopefully by October 9th, we can,
I'm available.
we can come back to this question and have something, some answers. Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, any other future agenda items? All right, I have one. It's nothing serious, but I need to make a motion to be able to serve alcohol at Opa-locka at our Spanish Heritage event, but I need a legislation to come back on October 9th. So that's the motion that I'm putting forth. Commissioner Dominguez. Hey, we gotta do it. We gotta pass the. So that's the motion that I'm putting forth. I know Commissioner Kennedy, I'm sorry, it's not me.
I didn't have it at Taste Opa-locka, but I mean,
They want
we had
communion.
regular drinks.
The people want communion, so.
To come back for like a special before?
No,
Oh,
we
okay.
have,
You just,
we just gotta, I just
Okay.
need to be able to bring it forward in that meeting
I got it.
and pass it, and
Okay.
we'll take it to the state for hopefully an approval.
okay, so you need me
I
to?
need a
Yeah,
second.
I make a motion. Okay, second.
Second.
He made a second.
Vice Mayor made a second. All right, it was moved in second. Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Williams,
I don't know. Alcohol? Yes, yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
It doesn't matter. Y'all got 3 votes already. I guess I'll say yes. It's passed anyway.
Mayor Taylor,
Yes,
motion passes 5-0.
all right, so, moving on to our mayor and commission reports. We're gonna start from left to right. Commissioner Williams,
Oh, that's me.
no report?
Um,
Commissioner Ba- oh,
shout out to the Opa-locka Hurricanes and to everyone, Opa-locka cheerleaders, everyone that works every day, not just weekday, to make it happen. Shout out to Opa-locka Hurricane Football 10U,
Yeah.
14, okay, everybody.
Oh,
I'm sorry, everybody, coaches and everybody. Can I just say this, Vice Mayor spends her Saturdays day from literally like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. supporting the football team. I'm there. I'm a football mom, so I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. Everyone that's there, it is so tedious and task oriented to be there. And so just shout out to everybody, Miss Chris, everybody that's there. I'm missing people. But man, let me tell you, it's a life, it's a job, and y'all are doing it for free. So big ups. And every time I sit up here, I'm gonna say it again and again. That also thank you, Commissioner Bass, for your having a third baby shower.
did she say it like
Because Commissioner Ba-
Again, another baby. No. But I heard it was a very successful event, and I'm so sorry I was at football. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Bass.
Thank you. September this month was National Baby Safety Month. So Mayor and Commission, we did put on our 3rd annual baby shower. We had tons and tons of really good baby items purchased by some of my allocations, as well as we had 8 vendors who came and donated to make it even more of a success. I saw one of our vendors was here tonight. Oh, there he is. Second year in a row. He actually gave out 3 hours for free, a raffle with his spinning 360 thing.
Wow, nice.
And he did it last time too.
Mhm.
Thanks to the clerk's office, worked really, really, really hard. Steven even got a little notch for, he just went through. We made him work. He earned his check. The manager's office.
Everybody knows who he is right now. Look at that.
Madam Clerk, look, he started red.
Wait. Don't make me say where he's lacking. Don't do it.
He did well for the baby shower. I mean, that was a lot of work. Our Miss Mejia, she worked her butt off. A shopper who shop. I believe she shopped so much, purchasing baby items, assistant city manager. Thank you so much. And I don't want to exaggerate the numbers because I'm not good at exaggerating, but I would say we had about 150 to maybe 175. And it was very, very successful, and not just giving out the baby items, just the thank yous, and you could see the need and the appreciation for what was done, and not just the items, also the educational part of it that was taking place. We also had Jeopardy, teaching them about finances, and it was really good. So next commission meeting, I'm hoping to have all of them here so you would have an opportunity to meet them and help me thank them, because even though I was the head of it, it's our event. So thank you all for your support, and next year, hopefully will be bigger and better. Thank you all.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
I'm so sorry, Commissioner Bass, that I missed this one, but I was at football next year. I was at football. I will say that bingo was really, really nice. It continues to grow. I don't know how it's going to work with the decrease that we just accepted, but it was standing room only. And of course, I have to thank our assistant city manager, Ms. Shameka Lawson, for having our gifts there on time. Park staff, oh my God, when I walk through the door, they say, you don't have to do anything but just start. We got everything all set up, and it's like, okay, everything was in place and on time. I am an advocate supporter of our parks. That's no secret. It started years ago. I've been 35 years living across the street from the parks. So I bought uniforms for teams, and we've done a whole lot of everything. Our coaching staff is phenomenal, and I have to give a great shout out to Mr. Dakari Griffin for what he does for that football program. To see him in action, in spite of what happened to him here, you would not believe it. Even down, he's the everything man when it comes to that football program. Miss Carolyn is sitting in the audience now. She can tell you how he troubleshot. He was the troubleshooter on Saturday and kept things from getting way out of hand, and thought nothing of it. When we took the kids to Fort Pierce, everybody's gone. Parents didn't get back yet. Who was still there waiting for the parents to come pick up their children? Dakari Griffin. I don't want him to think that we forgot about him. We appreciate what he does. We appreciate what all the staff does, especially this time of the year. I thank everybody. And also because this year wound up being a rebuilding year for whatever reason, I won't get into details. But if you have a child that still wants to play football, we are still recruiting, and I think cheering as well. Please bring them to the park. We were lucky to get 3 more kids on Jalen's team. On Monday, they came to practice because we needed that. What Commissioner Williams didn't tell y'all is that Jalen is a park kid. she can't ever get him to go home after his game. We try to, we know he's not going. She still thinks that he's going. He's not going at all. And I don't have anything to say, but if you're this weekend, the cheerleaders are fundraising at the football game that we're having this weekend at home. So if you want to support the cheerleaders, come by and purchase something from them. Thank you. We were trying to get them to start at 12. It's gonna start at 12. Yeah. So we have 3 teams. So our games will start at 12 and we should be finished by 6. Right? That's right. Yes. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I want to echo in a general sense all of the comments made about staff, the clerk's office, all of the departments, to the manager's office for the work they do for all of our outreach efforts. I want to commend them. I don't take it lightly. Being a former employee, I know it's a sacrifice. Even if you're getting paid, it's still a sacrifice. So I want to echo those thoughts. I did have under my report, along with some other items, and I mentioned it earlier about citywide canal cleaning improvements. And one of the reasons I raised it in the report was because I know the county cleans twice a year, but that's not enough for canal cleaning. And so I raised it in the budget hearing. So I just want to bring it up because I had it in my report. Several of our canal areas throughout the city need more than twice a year. And I know we're trying to renegotiate the agreement with the county, but if that does not work to get us more, and I hope we look at some subcontracting or something so that we can get our canals cleaned and make sure they're addressed more than twice a year. Because even though they come out and do what they do, another week or two, what have you, trash, whatever is in there. And that's why I brought about the receptacles on 141st, but not only there, but even on Atlantic and other areas throughout the city that we have canals to put receptacles. I do see folks fishing, and I always like that to see folks out there fishing in the canals, but I also want to make sure they're clean. So I know I mentioned it. I know the manager said you all are working on the agreement with the county. So, but if that doesn't work, and we need to bring something back, even legislatively, to subcontract and get someone to assist with the beautification of canal cleaning, I appreciate it. Also, oh, okay. You might go.
You were mentioning canals, like right there going into Ingram Park, it's really bad. But I think that trash, because it can't get through the gate, some of that big stuff, you think it's coming from the warehouses on the other side?
I'll defer that to the beautification division. I'm pretty sure some of it may be coming from there, but it may be, and that's probably a issue for beautification. But I'm just saying in Ingram, Nathan Young, Atlanta, all of our canal areas where even though the county has that contract, we need to do a better job. But like right now, some of them are real bad and folks want to go out and fish, and that's not a good look. And so if they're not going to be able to do it more, then we just got to do it ourselves to make it happen. But I guess that's something the manager's office can look at where it's coming from, because it probably is coming from over there. Because it seems to be sinking into the ground. Yeah. Also, I hosted the Taste of Opa-locka in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month. It was a great time, the community coming together with music and a taste of different foods, and of course the domino tournament. I want to thank all of the city departments for their assistance, especially the clerk's office. It was success even with the rain, having the community out. So I want to thank everyone for coming out. We hope to do that in the future. We also hosted our monthly Feeding South Florida food distribution at Siegel Park last Friday. As always, it's good to see our city helping our community. I know we're coming to the end of that agreement, and I know the manager's office will be working on that feasibility to see, because we only really funded it, I think, to the end of the year. So we'll see where that goes in regard with the pantry issue. I had the opportunity to attend the prayer and praise in the park with Pastor Cruz and his church. Wonderful time as they prayed for the community and fellowship. And I didn't get a chance to go over to the baby shower, but I did see a lot of cars, and some of those residents came to the park. And so I want to commend Commissioner Bass on that. I thought it was very good as well. I also had the opportunity to meet with residents out in the community to hear and address their concerns and the challenge they have, and I continue to do that. We've got some major challenges I've already mentioned regarding housing and even other issues as relates to beautification and cleaning that we've got to work on, and hopefully we'll continue to do that. I also want to invite everyone out this Friday, 5 to 8 p.m. at Helen Miller for our game night, checkers, spades, Uno, Jenga, just a fun night for the community over at Helen Miller Center on this Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to give out some gift cards. And of course, we got some trophies for the winners of the tournament, spade tournament as well. I invite, along with my co-hosts, everyone to our monthly farm share distribution next Wednesday, October 2nd here at Shabandi Pavilion. We have a new starting time because we have a lot of folks in line early and it's so hot out there. So we're going to start at 9:30 instead of our usual 10, 9:30 to 12:30. Of course, it's free, so please pass the word. And I always thank my colleagues, even though I know they all may not can make it, but I know they're very supportive of it as we get the word out to help our community. We're also working with our food partners to host some evening distributions because some of the concerns I've heard from residents is that they are working, but they still could benefit as well. So we're trying to work on getting that accomplished so we can have some evening distributions, and we'll keep you posted on that as well. I did want to say or ask, I know she's working on it. I mentioned she was working on a fair, a bazaar or something. And I had someone reach out to me, and I'm going to just refer them over to you, Commissioner Williams. I know you were you were working on something of that nature. So I look forward to that as well. That's all I have for under my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. And we're going into the mayor's report. Mr. Manager, you have an update on financial oversight?
Yes, sir, I do. I am happy to report that our internal work has been completed on the audit, and we have now scheduled to mobilize for our external auditors to meet with them and start their work on the first week in October. And from there, we are definitely on schedule to have this completed before the year's end.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions on the financial oversight?
Mr. Mayor, just one on the audit. I know within the budget and there was some funding you had to shift to that budget amendment to help with audit. Well, the term we use, I think, is audit support to help out because I know we're not fully staffed in finance. And I raised that question in the briefing to make sure there's enough money in that line item, whatever, to make sure that occurs. So the amount that's in there, you feel is sufficient because I don't want to get started. I know you're working on it and they'll be doing it. And I think they told me, I think Mr. Anthem said it was enough, but I just want to make sure it is. So there's no slowdown or whatever for that audit support. I guess it's a broad term for it.
Yes, sir. It's sufficient funds. The goal is we're trying to spend it as fast as we can, but it's more than it's sufficient funds. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
That.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. That was it for the audit?
Yes, sir.
All right. And lastly, I just want to invite everybody out to our Hispanic Heritage Month festival that we have every year, Opa-locka. This year, it will be at the Arcs Courtyard. The theme this year is good vibes, so we're asking everybody to bring out. This year is not a family event, and it's adults only. Adults only. It starts at 7 p.m. It's October 10th at 7 p.m. right here at the Arc, 675 Alibaba Avenue. We'll have the flyers out, so bring your friends. It's gonna be a nice thing. But Commissioner Williams said, bring your friends, but don't bring your family. Adults only. Stephen is excited. This is Stephen's party, you all. So
Commissioner Bass can come back.
October 11th. It's October 11th, Friday, October 11th at 7 p.m. I know, I messed up. She just corrected me. Friday, October 11th at 7 p.m. No, Jalen cannot come. All right. All right, so we're moving on to our official board appointments, and I believe that you provided us with three different ones. The first one I have Commissioner Audrey Dominguez. Her term expires at the end of this month, so we're asking for her to be reappointed. So I'll go ahead and make that motion to reappoint Audrey Dominguez back to the, what is this board? The Planning and Zoning Board. Okay, so that was second by the motion was made by Mayor Taylor, seconded by Vice Mayor. Can we go ahead and do a roll call for that one?
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Also, to the same board, Planning and Zoning, Ms. Dawn, her term expires on 9/30 as well. So we need to reappoint her. So I'll make that motion to reappoint Ms. Dawn back to the Planning and Zoning Board. Second, so moved by Mayor Taylor, seconded by Commissioner Bass. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
And we also have the Historical Environmental Preservation Board, two at-large appointments.
Move it.
That's for Merrick Williams.
Yeah. Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, and before we leave, Mr. Manager, can you please reach out to the county, because we know we're gonna have heavy rain for this weekend, so we can get, ahead of it.
Yes, sir.
We know we're gonna flood, so ask them to get some trucks on standby that we can pump, some pumping trucks.
Oh, that canal.
That too. So that's all on that. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Commissioner
Second.
Kelly, second by Vice Mayor. This
Stay
meeting is
safe,
adjourned, and please stay safe. What
Yeah.
Commissioner Williams said.